we go. What is going on, Cover One crew? Welcome back to the show. Hope everybody is doing good, man. We're diving back into that lab today and discussing another NFL draft prospect. His name is Terrion Arnold, Alabama product, defensive back from the Roll Tide. And I mean, okay, we already did McKinstry. Now we're doing Arnold. He's flying up draft boards. No kidding. Getting a lot of praise, a lot of steam on that value. And after the NFL Combine, we should see that increase that much more. What do you guys say we discuss a little Terrion Arnold, defensive back from Alabama? So like I mentioned earlier, there is a lot of quality depth in this draft when it comes to certain positions, and defensive back is definitely one of those as well. Tons of potential starting talent, maybe in the waiting bench stash type of player to earn his role as a starter. Arnold may be a day one starter for a club if he does pan out early on. He is a very good quality prospect. So let's talk about those measurables. As always, 6 foot 196. He is only 20 years of age. Young guy, ready to make some noise. 25 contests, 108 tackles for this man. 7.5 on the loss, 1 sack, 6 interceptions. Has a nose for that football. 20 passes broken up, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, and I mean no defensive scores. But he definitely made his presence known on that field because he was somewhat of a ball hawk. He is very good in that sense, and he did play extremely well for the Roll Tide. Let's talk about those pros. He's got a heaping, amount of pros we can discuss. No kidding. Like I'm saying right off the bat, very good size at that 196. He is 6 foot, is at that good threshold, man. 6'1", 6'2", you're talking, prototypical defensive back that you're looking for now in the NFL. But I mean, 196 at 6 feet, very good. He's got good tape speed. It's not great for me. I wanted to see a little bit more, something similarly to a McKinstry. I mean, they were teammates at Roll Tide, but I think that tape speed is good. It's not great. He's not going to wow you like a Nate Wiggins, but it's more than enough to keep up with majority of wide receivers. Break burst is absolutely excellent on the short area burst. I loved every ounce of it. It teamed up with, if you go down the angle, awareness and execution on the angles is very strong. He does this extremely well, so maybe it does mask his speed just a little bit. He does, the break burst on the angles and takes the angles extremely well, hence why you're talking the 1-2 steps. He's able to break on those footballs very, very quickly. I did like that about his game a lot. Sound athletic ability. He's got some hops. He's going to get after the quarterback on those, or the wide receivers on those jump balls. He does very well in this respect. Is he elite in trend in this? Probably not. But at least, you can say he's got enough athletic ability to at least challenge for those 50-50 balls. Good hip fluidity. You know me about my players, man. If you guys followed me for a long time, I love fluid players. You got to have that fluidity. He's got the hip fluidity, no question, man. Turns his hips with ease, can stick with these wide receivers, jumps routes extremely well, and breaks up those passes, goes and coincides absolutely with the burst, the break burst, and the awareness on his angles. He does jump routes so well and so clean, understands when to take the leap, and he does this very well. I do like that about his game. Probably one of the best things I saw on film when it comes to an Arnold and his game is breaking up those routes when he does take those angles extremely well. Very active hands, instinctive ball hawking, however you want to call it. He does have the trait quite a bit. I mean, those how many times we saw in his interceptions, the balls were tipped in the air and he was able to make a play on it. He's just got a nose for that football, and he's able to at least make and corral those footballs in, no question. Very active hands in that respect. He is going to challenge for those pass breakups, and he is very good in that. Shadow technique is absolutely stellar in an Arnold, and I know why a lot of people are gushing over this man for the top end potential, because he's only going to get better at this. He sticks with these wide receivers almost on the deep routes on the nines. He's running the routes for these wide receivers, turns his hips and almost is running like a wide receiver. There is some question marks when it comes to the cons in this respect as well, but I mean the shadow technique, how he mirrors these wide receivers, very strong, very good in a Terrion Arnold, no question in my mind. Forces these wide receivers to the boundary as well, so his technique is very sound. Doesn't let them get inside, doesn't let them get the double move when they're going deep. Very good in this respect. I do like that also. The mirror technique and forcing them with his strength and physicality to go to the sideline. Very good sound technique in what you're looking for out of your defensive backs without question. He's a tackling machine, man. What I say, 108 tackles, total tackles for a Terrion Arnold. I mean, he's so active when it comes to run discipline and able to take down down these running backs in the run defense and also taking down his wide receivers, even if he does allow them to catch the football. Very good. He does wrap low on all these guys, and he does got some hit stick. You got to like that about him. He is a former safety, so he does have some safety appeal to him when he is making tackles, when he is making hits, and I think that's another reason why a lot of individuals and a lot of scouts are liking his game that much more as we get into the NFL Combine and start to break down the process on a lot of these players, man. Strong run recognition, hard to say. Very good in run recognition. He's an active penetrator, going after the running back, trying to, run defense. He's so good in that respect. When you talk about, old school defensive backs like an Antoine Winfield back in the day, always active in the run game, always making tackles. Arnold's kind of fitting that mold for me. He's very good, very sound, doesn't give up a lot of plays in the run game when it comes to his side, and he's able to evade his wide receiver blocks pretty easily, you want to say. Majority of the time, 8 times out of 10, you can see him getting around, whether he gets skinny, gets low, gets around, or pushes off his wide receivers. He's going in, penetrating, and attempting to make the tackle. Like I said, potential safety convert is definitely here for an Arnold because he does have that experience, coming to his earlier days in playing football. So, transitioning to defensive back, he is a little bit more new, but his potential safety convert is there. I don't think that's a knock whatsoever. Could prolong his NFL career as he does get older. We got to talk some cons, though, because everybody's got them. And at times, it's one of those things. Some praise him for it. I'm kind of saying I don't want to see the flat feet when he's waiting to engage in these tackles. The patience is what their people are praising him for. I'm not necessarily doing that. I think he's got to be a little bit more, bouncy feet to try to get these running backs or wide receivers. Don't wait for them to come to you, because in the NFL versus more shifty guys, you're going to get cooked on the regular. I don't like the patience aspect in that. He looks for the hole to at least get these ball carriers down. You just got to not have those flat feet. Always keep your feet moving. That way you can engage that much better. I understand why he does it, because he doesn't want to be out of position, but they can absolutely juke you out of your pants if you're just standing still on the field, man. He can get hand swapped off the jam and swiped off the jam. I've seen it many times. It's not that the physicality isn't there. It's just a, missed technique, you want to say, when he does put in that jam. Just nail the wide receiver right in the chest blade, and you're going to understand you're not going to get him off the line. He does get burned sometimes off those slant routes, easy with the speed inside breaks. You do see that, but again, his recovery is very good. So even if he does get beat, he's going to be able to track at least his wide receivers, especially if the throw is late, and then he's able to make a pass breakup. We see this quite a bit. It is something he's got to work on. You got to say, like I'm saying, requires better tech on press, and that's a big one because his arms do get slapped off and then allows the wide receivers to go with their speed to break on the inside. Outside, you didn't see this as much. It was more inside plays that he was getting burned and cooked on because that technique wasn't necessarily sound. Like I'm saying, raw prospect overall, less experience at the DB, but what he did show was absolutely unbelievable in how he was able to get the positional awareness that much quicker than a lot of guys. He does have that experience, like I'm saying, at safety, calling plays and understanding where he needs to be, understanding where his teammates need to be, especially in zone coverage, does this very well. But he is raw in that sense, and he will get better very quickly with solid tutelage in the NFL. He looks more comfortable with his eyes on the wide receiver than turning and looking for the ball, and I think that's also a safety trait also, where the safeties usually looking at the quarterback, looking at the line of scrimmage. You see the defensive backs, they got to turn and run with these wide receivers, where he's kind of sideways running, which is also impressive to keep up with these wide receivers, but he's just completely mirroring and watching these wide receivers majority of the time, and he doesn't turn his head. He could get definitely a defensive PI in the NFL with those short arm throws if he's not turning his head, so that's definitely something I want to see him work on as he gets more into the pros. But he is a good talent. Lots of things just simply need to be worked on. They're not, inhibiting traits that are going to make him poor in the NFL. Just certain things you got to work on, because no one is a perfect prospect, but for grading purposes, he's a good one, man, and you put him on film and you watch his tape, he is very sound in his technique. 78.1% I got him right now, Mr. Terrion Arnold, in this process, and he's very close to a Kool-Aid McKinstry. I like Kool-Aid just a little bit more at this point, where we could say that, Arnold could easily jump him later on in the NFL. A couple years down the line, we could be talking a lot more about Arnold than we are McKinstry, but as we are today, we got to speak of what they are and what we know. He's not a field burner where Wiggins is that field burner. We got McKinstry and Arnold definitely technique specific and able to cover wide receivers pretty well, and I think they're going to have a very good long future in the NFL. So there you have it. That is Terrion Arnold, Roll Tide, Alabama product. And I mean, it's going to be very interesting. We see a lot of people already gushing over his potential, that he could be one of the better defensive backs coming out of this draft class, could be the first one off the board. I'd be kind of shocked with that, but I think he is talented enough that he could warrant to be in that conversation at least, so to speak, for all these defensive backs. But nevertheless, as always, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments, give me your thoughts. What do y'all think of Arnold? Any Bama fans, what do you think of his game? Throw it in the comments. We can definitely talk it out, but we'll see you next time. I am out.